So I was trying to call you. I was on a meeting. I just got out of a
Oh,
meeting.
there's Rico. Yeah,
Yeah, how
yeah.
you
I
doing,
was
man?
I was on the podcast. I didn't even notice you called me.
Oh yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. How's everything going?
All right.
Y'all wrapping it up right now? The podcast is done. Did I miss it?
Yep, we done. Yeah, we done.
It's a
Reginald
wrap.
had
Go
his
ahead.
line.
The,
Yeah.
Mark,
Hey.
the Microsoft guys, y'all
Hey.
did what y'all wanted to do, and
Hey,
just don't,
look.
yeah, because I know y'all don't care
Yep.
about Red Hat. It's all good.
Look. I got my thinking out.
Yep, he had his
I see,
line.
I see you flexing over there. What's up, Marquise? You
Oh,
missed it, man. They already finished the
Marquise.
podcast, Marquise. We missed it.
All right, y'all have a good night, man.
He said, y'all have a good night. He like, y'all have a good night.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss.
My name is Professor Roger, and I'm from Brooklyn, right? I don't see anybody. Yeah, okay. Knicks, no. Nets, no. All right. Mets, no, nothing, no. Nothing.
Hey, you see, them, we from the South, and everybody here from the
Yeah, we
South.
for the South.
Oh, everybody
Everybody from the South.
Oh man, yeah, but I'm from Brooklyn. And how you want to know how I started in tech? Well, I went to college. Both my parents are college bound, right? So they forced me into college. I didn't know what I wanted to do in college. So, my family my grandmother has a restaurant. So I used to work in the restaurant. So I was like, hey, okay, I'll help her with the business. The business. Right? It's one restaurant. They didn't want me in there. Help them with the business.
Why you eating all the food or something? What's going on in the restaurant?
Oh, we're not going to do fat jokes
soul
tonight.
food restaurant, man.
Tofu restaurant. Yeah, at least you wasn't eating food.
Soul food.
Soul food.
So,
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, dope.
My family's from Alabama. Originally from Alabama.
Oh, so you
We
are from the
migrated.
South.
Yeah. Farmers, right? So they came up to Brooklyn, migrated up to Brooklyn. And of course, when they came to Brooklyn, it was white. So there was no black presence there, so they're like one of the first soul food restaurants in Brooklyn, right? So they set that up. I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. I'll take business. So I have an MBA. I got hired at Pricewater, right, as an accountant. Did forensics accounting, which is even worse, right? And I didn't like it. It was totally boring for me. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with accounting in the field, but my personality, it didn't click, right? It was totally boring. I dreaded going to work every day. I'm like, wow, the sun came up again? Damn. That means I gotta
It's
go
all
to work.
boring numbers, huh?
Yeah, but it's just it was just boring to me, right? But it kind of triggered the business side of it. I liked it. I liked the investigative side and all that stuff because I did forensics accounting, so we had to find out why $1 million is missing. So we did that, but I just didn't like it overall. It wasn't my personality, and it was extremely boring to me, and there's no upwards mobility. So
Gotcha.
I met with someone. I can't really say he's my mentor in a sense, but I met with him and I told him that. And then he was like, well, you need to talk to your manager and find out a career path. Okay, cool. So before I went to my manager, I talked to my uncle. My uncle says, well, what is your goal? I said, what? I don't know. Salary goal. What is your salary goal? I said, I don't know. So he said, well, that's the first thing you have to do is get a salary goal, right? So that way you could know where to go, right? And that was good advice. So I said, okay. So I found the position I wanted, and it was making like 120, right? Right now, I'm making 55,000, right, coming out of college. So I went to my manager and said, yeah, I want to make six figures. And, you know, I probably was only 3 Black people in the accounting department, right? So me even coming up to him, right, the CFO at the time, I came up to him and I said, yeah, I want to make 6 figures. So he sat down with me and he told me, well, you're going to have to, you know, there's only 3 people. I mean, I found out that there was only 3 people that make 6 figures in the accounting department. He was one of them, right?
So he's pretty much saying like you're gonna have to fight me for it.
or you know, just wait in line, you know, and good luck on your, you know. So, and you know, and in an accountant field, nobody leaves, right? They die at their desk kind of jobs.
What year was this? I don't know if you said that or not.
Oh, what year?
Yeah.
You said, yeah, this was like in 2000, well, 98, right? And so I was like, oh man, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I was going to quit. I was going to go back to school. I you know, I didn't know. And then I saw the IT guys and I said, that looks interesting, right? You know, the IT guys get to run around the building, get to talk to the pretty girls and all that. You know, I can't really say I joined IT because, you know, I'm this super nerd. I joined IT because their job looks so cool, right? They in meetings, they eating our food. I'm like, why is the IT guy in our accountant meeting? You know, because we had a meeting about.
So that was in y'all's meeting, eating all the snacks.
Yeah, eating all our food and stuff.
Hey,
like, that's great.
listen. We're not gonna do fat jokes on this podcast. We're just not gonna do that.
It's too late, man. We go wherever the guest wants us to go, brother.
You guys eating our donuts and stuff. So I asked them, and at that time, there was tech schools. I don't know if y'all remember tech schools, ITT.
Yeah.
Right, Tech, DeBry, DeBry is still around, but you know, there was tech schools like that. So I was like, okay, he told me to join a tech school. There was one in New York called Career Center. And he told me to get my A+ Network Plus. Okay, cool. So I went there. Of course, my job wasn't going to pay for it because I had nothing to do with accounting. No problem. I paid for it. It took me 3 months because at that time, A+, still 2 exams, but it was, you know, like you did real hardware, like you did real actual jumpers and all that stuff, right? So it was real hard at that time. And then Network Plus, right? Now networking in PC is kind of easier and kind of flows much better now. So I got that, and then I went for a job. I because of my accounting background, I got my first tech job was at NASDAQ. You know, I'm from New York, so that's the stock exchange, right? Wall Street. And it had nothing to do with accounting. I was a PC tech guy, but they thought my accounting background will be good in the customer service with the traders, right? Because I have a financial background. Okay, cool. And it was no conversations. They on the trading floor. You guys seen the trading floor before, or at least saw it on TV, right?
On TV, yeah.
You see these thousands of monitors. There's computers all underneath these cabinetries. You can't see the computers, but you see the monitors, right? And when one computer goes down, the trader will raise a flag, you know, and to call us, and we'll run. And we just swap it out. But while I'm swapping it out, the traders will curse me out. Like, hey, you know, we just lost like $10,000. You know, what are you doing, right? And the only thing I'm doing is unplugging and plugging it back in. And I just loved it. I don't know, they just loved being cursed out.
Say what?
You know, it was just so much fun, right? And then we take it back and then we fix it. And then we put it back on the shelf and we kept doing that, right? That was my entry into tech, and I loved it there. But what I really loved about tech that was different than accounting, my destiny or my fate is already written, right? I go this direction, that's it. Right? I can't go into anything else. There's no AI of accounting. There's no new accounting technology, right? You're kind of bound.
Yeah.
But in technology, there were so many avenues, right, open to me. I was amazed. And then I asked that question about six figures. They say, "Oh, well, we all make six figures." I'm like, "What?" Because in accounting, the guy was like, "I don't know, 8-10 years, maybe if you stick with the company." What? And in tech, the guy was telling me, "Oh, in 2 years, 3 years, you should be making six figures."
Wow.
Right?
Really?
Find what you like to do. Because I was like, well, then what do I need to do to make six figures? Find what you like. And that's what I did. I went from PC tech to help desk manager to server. I worked as a server tech. That's what got me more into Microsoft. I was a network administrator with Cisco. I did the gamut of things. I love this industry.
So did you get
Right?
any kind of guidance as you were embarking on this path to, push the
Not
six
no,
figures? I mean, some people told me when I was getting out of the Marine Corps, like, you know, find one thing and go deep on that. You can't
yes.
do a lot of different things. Like, what were you getting from that, from people?
Yeah, no, that's good. But see, in technology, every 5 years, there's a disruptor, right? Right? An iPhone, right? The iPhone came out in 2000, I think 4. That changed the landscape of how we do business, right? And I'm just talking on the business end. I'm not even talking on the consumer end. When the smartphone came out, that was a wrap, right? Before you could even bring your phone to work, right? Now your phone is work, right? So Wi-Fi, that was another disruptor. Cloud, that's another disruptor. Changed how we do business, how the industry is, and cyber is another disruptor, right? This changed the landscape of how IT is. So to say stick to one thing, you might become irrelevant eventually, right? For me, I like that. I like that I could always be one step ahead. I could always be one step ahead. The playing field is always leveled, right? Because, me going to interview, I have 20 years experience. You might have 1 or 2 years experience in AI. I have 20 years experience, but you might beat me out because you know AI better than I do. So it's always leveled. I like that. While in other industries, you 20 years experience, they won't even talk to you and you might have more skills than he does. But because he's 20 years experience, he trumps you. Right?
That's an interesting perspective, sir.
Yes, I love this field, right? So and it's funny how I got into cyber is that we was at a meeting, right? I was a network administrator at the time. We was at a meeting and the company wanted to buy Checkpoint. And at that time, Checkpoint came in these Nokia boxes. It looks like a router. It looked like a Cisco router, right? It's like these 1U servers, but it looks like a network device. So they say, hey, who in networking wants to configure this new firewall, right? Like, oh, okay, I'll do it, right? And that's how I got into cybersecurity. I configured the firewall. I liked it. Oh, I get to block stuff. I get to do, At that time, it wasn't called cyber. It was called InfoSec, right? In the early 2000s. I never even heard of the word. Well, you heard of cyber, but not cybersecurity. Not in no serious context. Cyber was more a movie thing, right?
Yeah.
right? So that's how I got into cyber, and I loved it ever since.
Yeah, so you dating yourself a little bit.
Huh?
A little bit.
A little bit. Dating yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
But
So
it's good stuff, man. I mean, I I I liked what you just said though. I don't think we've ever thought about it in that way. Like, it's a level playing field no matter how much experience you got.
yes,
Because that I've never heard nobody put it like that before. That's really great.
yes.
But go ahead,
And
Rico.
also, I mean, when I first started in IT, it was when I got hired at NASDAQ. It was another brother, and we did this. Like, I see you. You know what I'm saying? It was just another brother. It was just me and him, right? I mean, there's still a diversity problem, right?
Yeah.
Now there's
And
4
you're saying
brothers,
today
right?
is still a diversity
Yeah,
problem.
and
Yeah.
I'm working hard. That's my mission, to try to get more of us in the cyber field, right? I didn't get into technology through high school. I didn't sit with my career counselor and they said, you know what? Your personality fits well with technology. Let's get you on that track. No, I learned technology through, like I said, watching someone in the hallway looking cool, right? So,
Dang.
but I want to change that where the generation, our either children or nephews or stuff, when they could see us and say, oh, I want to be that. I didn't have that. I didn't have any role models to see.
That sounds like
Right?
a t-shirt, man. Like, I should get a t-shirt made where it says I love tech.
Be like Rico?
No, it'd be I love tech on the front, and then on the back it'd be because it makes me look cool. You think people buy
Yes,
that?
exactly. Exactly.
I mean, I feel
Exactly.
I actually have the same goals, with my approach to tech. That's why I grew my hair out because of it was something I wanted to do with my son,
Right.
but I kept it because I wanted the look to embody, like, be enveloped in like what smart people look like in tech.
Right.
Because usually, like, I wear glasses. Earlier in my career, I used to find myself wearing my glasses a lot more when I was around people talking. Because, like, I don't know, people feel like you're smarter when you're wearing glasses, And for me, being in tech, doing what I do in tech, I would tell people what I did, but they didn't really believe what I did until they overheard me talking about cryptography or teaching somebody binary or something like that. And it was always the same. Oh, you do that kind of tech, or I didn't know you did. And I'm like, I told you I did tech. Well, you, I mean, you look, like a jock, right? I mean, I played football, but even then, but my thing is like you. I want to make it cool to do tech, and I want to make it, lower the barrier of entry for people. There's
Right.
enough barriers that we don't know about.
Right.
Let's remove the ones that we do know that are there, which is like just a knowledge gap.
But and one thing I liked about tech, that it's at the end of the day, it's about skills. So if you're black, white, or whatever, yeah, I might be racist. I might not want black people here, but guess what? It's only Reginald, and he's the most qualified. I gotta hire him. I might not help him get anywhere once we hire him, right? I might not make him feel like part of the team, but he is smarter than everybody on the team.
And we need what he knows.
Yeah, and we need him. And the other thing I liked about tech is we could get smart on our own. Yeah. See, an accountant, I have to go to school. And I have to make sure I'm at a right school to network and stuff. IT, I could do that in my basement. I mean, that's amazing. Right? That freedom, that just wowed me. Wow. Like, wait, that's it? I could go to a tech school, and then at the school they told me set up a lab. That's it? Like, I don't have to go to these high educated schools, and I have to get alumni, and I don't have to get all that. I could just learn it myself. A software come out, I could download it and learn it myself. That's amazing.
But
Yep.
You
if
know,
we was in church, everybody would be like, amen, brother. Yes.
you know, and that
I gotta
freedom
listen.
plus the salary, I think is where we should be. We should not miss this train. You know, the tech train. We should make sure our people jump aboard this train, right? Because the other thing, like, I had family from Detroit, and the auto industry literally disrespected them, just left them, right? I mean, left them holding the bag. Detroit is in a disastrous state because the auto industry just left. I mean, literally like ghost town. You go to Detroit, you see the remnants, but they just left it like, wow. But here, that can't happen to us. They can't outsource IT. They could, I mean, they could try, but our skills are wanted anywhere. Every business that is presently or currently here and those in the future need us. There's not enough. There's not enough people, right? So we will never be outsourced like the auto industry, totally just replaced, right? Because our skills are needed anywhere. And I love that.
So
I'm valuable at any company.
So I
we
would
got
put
the
a disclaimer on that when you say our skills, there's levels. There's some that are dispensable.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh
which
that's
yeah,
ones?
some.
What you trying to say,
Which
Marco?
ones? Which ones do you think are dispensable?
Well, so the one with the medial tasks, like certain help desk functions, like you're talking about somebody who maybe, and I'm just throwing this out there. Let's just say if you just unlock accounts all day or passwords, there's self-help capability that you could put in place to outsource that right now,
right.
to put it in the hands of the users. And as technology is exponentially growing, I mean, the amount of things that you can automate is just growing. I mean, you ever hear of self-healing data centers? Like, that'll take a lot of jobs.
And he's saying like there's levels of tech that could be phased out due to technological enhancements over time. But from a big picture, from a macro perspective, tech, if your role is phased out, you can always move. You can pivot. Being in this space, it allows you to more readily pivot, right? So if a
Yeah,
help desk role does dry up, or help desk roles as a whole dry up for whatever reason, right? We don't need that human interaction there. You can
Right, yeah.
pivot over and take what you've learned and push it to the next level, to networking or server virtualization, whatever, if those are still around,
And I do agree with
automation
I
of
agree with
roles.
what he's saying. It's not that I
Yeah.
don't agree. I agree, and I actually feel like we're safer than most because a lot of those jobs are actually going to come over to tech. Like they're going to bleed into tech and turn into like tech jobs. Those
yeah.
jobs that aren't
But
tech right now.
one thing, which is true, Marco, you're absolutely right, and that's one thing that's not being told. Humans are. I mean, we're. You know, there's something called tech evolution, right? And I talked about that, right? So I remember when I started in tech, there was no Wi-Fi, right? When I started in tech, there was no VoIP, right? That stuff, I started in 2000. So that stuff is new, just formed technology. And I remember I was in a meeting when they was talking to the telephone guys, because the company still had telephones and fax machines, and they were saying we're moving to this VoIP, and the telephone guys was like, "The hell is VoIP?" Oh, we're going digital. So they was like, they didn't learn it, and guess what? They got fired. You know what I'm saying? And they had
Exactly.
to hire VoIP.
Exactly. Exactly.
So we always got to be constantly on the lookout for new technology and upgrade ourselves. You know, if you're working with companies that don't do that for you or with you, then you got to know to do that yourself. You know, that's why I like today that we have communities, we have this podcast, we have people that keep you, up to date,
Yeah.
How do
where
you
before
stay
I
up?
didn't have that. You just
Yeah.
bumped
I'm gonna
into
say.
things.
I was gonna say, how do you stay up to date yourself?
Oh, yeah. How I stay up to date now is through, blogs, feeds, going to conferences, right? I go to a lot of conferences. I'm trying to spread, diversity in these conferences. A lot of the conference speakers are white. I'm trying to bring us, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm trying to bring us more present. We seem invisible,
Well, I
right?
mean, I don't
So,
know. I kind of got to push back on you on that one, man.
mhm,
Something being wrong with that is very subjective. If you're one of the the regular faces in that space, yeah, it's another day for you. But the thing that the people I think about are the ones that want to get into the space and they're looking from outside of the fence, looking in, and they
right,
don't see anybody look like them.
exactly.
So they don't want to approach the interest and ask, "How do I get in here? Or can I get in here? Or what does it take?" Because it doesn't look like a space that they fit in. So it's just
Yeah.
that's why it's our duty to make ourselves visible, make other people in this space visible, so people see. Oh, well, it's people that look like. I mean, just like you go in a party. Back in the day, a lot of people they go into a place and they feel out of place until they see somebody they know or somebody that you see somebody from. I see somebody from Georgia. They say they're from. Hey, I'm from Georgia too. Oh yeah, now the whole
Right.
vibe changes.
Exactly.
So it's not that it's important or that we don't like working around people that don't look like us. It's just when you're in a new space, it's easier to get comfortable when you're around somebody that's familiar. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's just my
Yeah.
that's just my feeling about it.
And that don't really seem like a pushback. That's more of a differing of perspective because both points are definitely valid. Like you definitely feel more comfortable when there's people that look like you in the space.
Hell,
Nah, it's a
But
pushback, man. I don't like Professor Roger, man. I want to make some static.
Uh,
I want to make some
I,
static out here tonight.
you know, like the Mets, the Yankees.
the,
Nah,
but
No,
yeah, that's my boy.
but the reality of it is, you look on camera right now. You see Marco and Rico 10 years ago. You got to cut that. You got to tie it off.
oh yeah,
You can't
oh
walk
yeah.
into an IT shop looking like that.
No,
You know what I mean?
that's what kind of amazed me with tech too. When I first got into tech, so NASDAQ is corporate as corporate could be, right? It is super corporate. If you Google corporate, you will see NASDAQ picture like this, you know what I'm saying? Right? With the suits and everything. In IT, we didn't have to wear suits.
Yep.
They wore shorts. What? It was crazy. It was crazy. I said, I love this, right? And that's what I see IT as tech as. We're like the disruptors, right?
Mm, I like
That's
that.
why you can wear dreads because our white counterparts, they're wearing pink hair. I had
gauges,
a coworker,
tattoos.
yeah, tattoos,
I remember when
everything.
tattoos was like, if you had a tattoo, you must have did some time or
Oh,
something back in the day.
Oh
oh yeah,
man.
Because now
yeah, yeah.
everybody got tattoos, right?
Right. They was doing criminal backgrounds. Did we check
Oh, he
your
got a
background?
tattoo. Let me go to the other side of the street. This dude got a tattoo. You see that tattoo on him?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I like that freedom, but one thing that I don't like, and I'm trying to fix, is that one thing that was troubling me is that, and it might not have been tech, it could have been just America and how we treat in America, but I tried to stay under the radar. I didn't make no noise. Understand? Now I'm trying to change that. I'm trying to be because I know the next generation, like you mentioned, Rico and Marco, they have to see us. So I'm trying to get us to be more visible, us to be out there, us to be more vocal. Like Rico, you doing a podcast, right? Years ago, you wouldn't have done this, right? Wouldn't have even been a thought, right? But now we're being more vocal. We're grasping this social media and starting to be more out in the open, starting to show black men, intelligent black men, not drug, because if there's 7 black men here, right? Either we could be drug dealers, you know what I'm saying? Right?
Somebody selling crack.
Right? Somebody's selling crack in here, but no, we're all intelligent black men making money, right? And experts in our space. We have something to say, right?
Why Marco
So
had to raise his hand? Why you raise your hand, man?
I thought you was
what,
asking a
Marco?
question.
What question do you think he asked? If who wanted to buy some crack? Like, what was the
Oh.
question?
Marco looked like King
Hey
Von, man.
Rico, say you fed without saying you fed, right? That's what you're doing.
Yes, that's what it is. You got me.
Yeah, so it's good to we got to show this to the masses. So I'm glad that you guys are visible. I'm trying to be more visible. I'm trying to be out there, right, to make sure that it's known that, hey, there's black intelligence and excellence here.
Mm.
You know,
I
Absolutely.
definitely like your excitement about tech, though, Professor. Like the way you run through the history of like where we came from tech. I gotta say, I imagine you can kind of gauge where we're going with with AI and a lot of the automation stuff going on, cloud
right.
technologies. What do you foresee the technology taking us?
Yeah, no, AI is excellent because also my day job, I'm a cybersecurity architect, principal cybersecurity architect for Microsoft, right? So we use AI in cybersecurity. We have a product called Sentinel and Defender, right? One of our biggest products, and those are just marketing terms, but they are, I guess, from a technical sense, you could say they're XDR, right? A seam, SOAR, right? All those technologies tied into one. We call them Sentinel, right? And we use AI extensively, right? So AI on a cybersecurity realm is not to replace jobs; it's to make our overwhelming task take some of that tedious task off of us so we could be humans. Humans make
Mm,
decisions. Humans take data and make intelligent decisions on it. But if I'm, drowned in data where I can't sift through it, then I can't make any intelligent decisions. So AI takes those meaningless tasks off of our back, right? So
right.
that way, because remember, it's artificial intelligence, so it only can make moves that we tell it to, right? So we're still needed, right? It doesn't make decisions. It doesn't make intelligent decisions. It makes decisions that was written for it. It's called a playbook, right? Like that part is not being told. AI is just a program, and
Mm,
that program follows the rules of programs. Programs is a boundary. AI can't go out of that boundary. It's written by
mm.
humans, right? I mean,
And
maybe one day it'll be Terminator, Skynet. I don't know, but right now, Sarah Connor is not born. I guess but that's not that's not the purpose of AI to overtake humans. That's fun to say, and of course the press is going to run with it because that's sensationalism, right?
yep.
It's but and it's clickbait, right? To say that
Mm.
AI is going to get rid of humans and all that. No, it's for us in our field. It enhances our life because as a human, only have a certain amount of hours, and there's no way I could read through 100, 200,000 logs.
Well,
It's no way. It's
so
humanly
I wa-
impossible.
I want to pull a Rico. I want to push back on that one.
Okay, cool.
No, so I just want to say you could. I think the problem is you're prone to error. As you get
Yes,
down
that
through the
too.
hundreds of laws, you get to two,
Yes.
300. Now you're drowsy. Now you're tired of the repetitiveness,
Uh-huh.
and then you're making mistakes
Drinking
by overlooking
wine.
stuff.
Yeah,
Right,
So
see?
you
like Reggie,
Reggie
right,
Working from
Reggie.
home,
drinking
drinking
wine
wine.
while you're going through logs.
So it pulls out that human error element from the equation. That's why I tell my guys when we're building our automations, like we building this not because you don't want to have to do it. It reduces
Right.
error. If you got to
Yeah.
click, 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 type, 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 that's a potential for a typo. You click the wrong
Right.
thing. We want to make this thing repeatable to reduce error and make you more effective to do other things, smart things
Yes.
like advancing this automation, making it better.
Yeah, and the other thing is too leveraging AI. The faster you can identify and isolate the threat, the better, right? So AI
Right.
helps you get to that
Absolutely.
Yeah.
even faster. So definitely there with you 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And just for and I hate to repeat it, but what I'm getting from you, Professor, is that AI isn't gonna like take over the thinking part that we're
No.
so kind of scared of. It's more of an augmentation of our I just call it mundane tasks. I mean,
Right.
it's not exciting. It's not an exciting thing to go through logs. Granted, we do have technology that's kind of made a swipe at that, right? Going through logs because you got log ingestion engines, and then you also
Right.
have correlation engines, right? That make sense of it. But AI kind of pushes it to the next level because
Yes.
we're getting logic in more and more pieces of our lives, right? So that's more anomalies and or not anomalies, but more log data that's telling us what's going on with all these millions of different pieces. And at a certain point, we're gonna need to be able to make sense of something and act on something, right?
Right.
Right, but at the end of
Most
the day, so Professor made a good point earlier about, this artificial intelligence being artificial, but at the end of the day, it's still intelligence. But I think it's just at its infancy. I think the AI has the potential to evolve to a point to where it's very close to I guess some lower life form or even human like so what we do is correlate ourselves, right? You look at your past, you look at your present, you look at this and that, and you make a correlation and you make a judgment based on that. um that's just a couple of levels of higher advancement, probably exponentially higher than the AI is. But what would
so
it take
so
for the AI to get to that level?
so
To
you
That would
find
be
that
my
level.
we
question.
kind of set a precedence. If you're gonna do that, you need to preface that with I'm gonna have to push back. But I feel like you just came at me without telling me you was coming at me. I've been
I
kind of
wasn't.
respectful
I
in,
wasn't
in
coming.
telling people
I wasn't.
that I'm no. Okay. Anybody else feel like he was coming at me?
Stop
Coming
saying I'm
at
He
coming, bro.
pushing back at me, pushing back,
you.
I'm not.
pushing back without warning. No.
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess we on that training day. You ever got pushed in, bro?
Yeah. So okay. So now we're talking about job replace. Does AI replace jobs? Yes, because you shouldn't have been doing that job in the first place,
Mhm.
right? So this is one thing that we have to look at too. Okay, Marco brought up a point. Okay, me. I mean, I'm also a hiring manager. I had this woman come in. She was like 10 years in the field, right? And she was proud of it too. I'm 10 years in the field. I work with Active Directory. I'm in IAM, and she was kicking all these terms and stuff. I'm like, well, okay, what do you do? Oh, I add users and take a user management, fancy term for just deleting users and adding users.
Say
I'm
what?
like, that's what you did for 10 years? Shame on that company.
10 years?
Right? Right? That company should have been upgraded you because there's technologies that could do that for them. I can understand when you first started. We didn't have these, but now we have IAM we have role-based management, we have automation.
I was about to say, even before that, you had PowerShell where you could run a script to do
No,
that
I'm saying
Hey,
automatically.
hey,
that's what I'm
pro-
saying. They have that now. Well, obviously they got rid of her because she's looking for another job.
so
But
so
no one told her that. Hey, you need to start to level up,
Stay
right?
relevant.
so
And
She got
Professor.
AI
comfortable.
is coming out.
So,
AI is the same thing. There's people job to read logs, sort out logs, all this stuff that AI is going to replace,
so
right?
Professor
You're not
Rogers.
doing intelligent work,
Well,
right?
I
So
Professor
want
Roger,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, I so just we all family here. We all love joking around,
Right.
messing around. But I'm gonna push back a little bit.
Good.
Kind of like your hair, kind of like your hairline. Don't take your hat off again.
Oh
wow.
shit!
Man.
Wow.
Dang!
Wow.
Oh God.
Dang!
Oh, man. Like New York, we got jokes.
Kenny make sure his hat
Dang!
on,
Reggie
man.
got jokes.
Look,
This is out of.
We
This is
got
not my fight.
jokes.
Hey,
Kenny making
Reggie.
sure his hat
Reggie
on
said he
straight.
ain't pushing back from no tables, but he gonna push back from that shit.
Hey man, we got to make the show fun, right? We got to
Oh
make the show
yeah,
fun.
I like it.
Hey, y'all don't start pulling out guns because Professor was already talking about gunshots. So and you
How you
live in
shooting?
Detroit.
Face shooting? Who ain't
We don't
face
want any
shooting?
casualties.
Oh man,
Don't want anybody
So
getting hurt,
had
man.
his hairline.
Oh
Ooh.
man, woo, that was fun.
A bit about we've talked a little bit about jobs that may stand to be replaced due to AI advancements in AI
right.
and automation. Right, those are two separate things. AI and then you got automation.
Mhm.
What kind of jobs do you foresee being created? Or
Right.
well, if we can at least say like what kind of tasks would be
Right.
encompassed within these jobs, because if they don't exist and we can't name them if they don't exist.
Right. Right. No, there's some jobs out here that are out now that are not efficient. Right. Those jobs are tasks. And because there's no other way of doing it, we have to hire this. I work for Accenture. You know Accenture's job? You ever saw Office Space? That movie, Office Space?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's Accenture. Accenture comes in and says, okay, let's see what people are doing. And if it's not repeatable, let's get rid of that process. So you come in and you see Mary doing a certain task. And if no one can do that except Mary, let's get rid of that task. Let's get rid of Mary and that. Well, not really get rid of Mary. They should be moving Mary to another task, train her and upgrade her, right? But let's get rid of that task. So IT is always that, looking for automation and efficiency. So eventually, if your job is just a tedious task, you're going to be replaced. That's the
So
reality
anybody at
of
a
it.
company,
So Marco mentioned help
with a
desk,
stapler.
right? If your job is to, do a tedious task in a help desk, then we're always looking for replacements. We're always looking to evolve up. We're always looking to automate, right? The joke is that if you're good in IT, you're going to automate yourself out of a job, right?
I've heard that several times in my career.
Exactly. Your goal is to automate yourself out of that job and move up, right? That is like, so AI is just part of that. But as we're doing that, new jobs are created. AI is going to create it's going to it'll get rid of 5,000 jobs, but it's going to create 20,000 jobs.
I was gonna say that's like when you say automate yourself out of a job. You're
Mhm.
not really automating yourself out of a job where you don't have a job. You're automating
Right.
yourself out of that job. Now you have a
That
more
job.
advanced job.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what IT is about, right? We're always leveling ourselves up. If you're not doing that, you're going to be obsolete. You're going to be
Mm-hmm.
irrelevant soon, right? So like I was talking about the guys from the telecom guys that didn't want to transition into VoIP. right? VoIP is that new technology that's going to make communication, right, better, right, more efficient. So you have to level yourself up to the latest technology. AI is that. Cloud is that, right? Companies are moving to the cloud. Imagine you telling your company, "Oh, you moving to the cloud? Ah, screw that stuff. I'm gonna stay here on premise." You know what I'm saying? What? Okay, dude. You can stay in the data center. We're about to turn that into a cafeteria. You can sweep it if you want, right? But we out of here, right?
It's
Sweep it
happening
up
to all.
real quick.
It's
Wait,
happening,
so
man. Go
it's
ahead.
funny that you say that because I've actually done that. Like I shot myself in the foot on the interview. Somebody was talking about going to the cloud, and I started asking questions. And they were good questions about, well, have you considered blah blah blah? Have you looked at these? What are your actual requirements? And I didn't get the job. Well, fast forward, and those are questions that people are asking. Well, before you consider going to the cloud, you should take this into account. Like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
That's
Yeah,
the problem with vision. You get a person with vision. It's a double-edged sword.
it's
The
not
good
always
thing is this
understood.
person can project their sight into places that other people can't see.
Yeah,
You can
Right.
see what's coming.
Man, you
But the
make people
bad
sound
thing
like a
is that
superhero, bro.
nobody can see it. So they think that this person doesn't know what they're talking about. This
yeah.
person's crazy. You just don't understand the vision. So,
Yeah.
but that's a great point. And there's a
Scarface
lot
wasn't a
of
hit
there's a lot of
when it
talk
was released.
about what was that?
I said Scarface wasn't a hit movie when it was released.
Yeah. So there's a lot of talk about the data centers being sucked up and stuff, and cloud, man. That's whew, and it's a lot of talk about power, right? Because we talk
Like
about AI,
when you say
right?
power, you talking about electricity or you talking about
Electricity,
The
right?
show.
okay.
The powering of these systems and the cooling of these systems, because you move your workloads out of your data center.
Mm-hmm.
So, with the cloud, as a service model, you're moving the responsibility off.
Yeah.
So you're no longer responsible for maintaining physical systems, cooling physical systems, powering physical systems. You trade that off to pay a smaller fee to somebody else doing the same thing.
Can't forget networking too.
Nobody cares about networking.
All in all, I feel like
Oh,
it. I feel
oh,
like you're saving.
Kenneth,
I feel
that is
like
so wrong, Kenneth.
that's a more efficient means of doing business, though. Cloud is a more efficient means of doing business. When you look at it in the grand scheme of things, Syncom got that big ass data center with all those things going on in there. Offloading that because even when we had that data center, we weren't optimally using it. We weren't using all that
Right.
capacity. So
Exactly.
you offset that to a data center where we're only gonna get what we need. We're only gonna use what we need, and there's other people doing the
Mm-hmm.
same thing. If that data center is 100% utilized, that's great because our
So
data
it's
center
another
weren't.
so it's another step from virtualization.
It is, yeah, yeah,
It's almost like,
Well,
I don't want to say virtualizing a data center, but it's like virtualizing a
it
data
is
center.
though.
Yeah.
well,
I
and
mean,
you
it
also
is.
got to think about. You got 2 or 3 guys sitting in the data center. You got to pay them. You ain't got to do that no
Yeah,
more either.
that's true.
I would love to eat lunch in the data center. Like
Yeah,
Dr.
I
Roger said, hey
mean,
man,
you'll still have that
in the
person though, because
cafeteria.
a lot of workloads, there has to be like some on-prem
Yeah,
presence
of
still,
course,
Oh yeah.
of
Of
course.
course.
Especially when
for
you talk about
performance
government
issues and
customers.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. So, and that just kind of goes back to the point Professor was saying before. You're not really getting rid of these roles. Some of them you're making them more efficient. You're
Mm-hmm.
making them capable of being run and carried out with fewer people. Maybe you
Right.
had a team at one point, now you maybe only have a duality. 2 people. And that's only because you need a backup because people get sick. Um, and this team that was pulled away from that in lieu of these other 2 people that's only required to do it. Now they can learn and do other things. These other jobs
Right.
that are going to be brought
Right.
out. So getting into tech and getting established in tech, and that's why whenever I'm guiding someone through the process or teaching somebody something, I teach them from the ground up. I'm not gonna
Yes.
like, If you're going for Security Plus, I'm not going to teach you how to pass the exam, because the exam itself, it's just a receipt. That's a receipt certifying, I'm doing air quotes, certifying to someone else that doesn't know you that you have a base level of knowledge in this area.
Right.
You still got to sit to an interview to further prove that you have that, you have whatever is expected knowledge wise. So my main thing is the prize is the knowledge. The certification is receipt of the knowledge.
Just like speaking of void, that time we were in Bahrain, we had to stay up all night to learn void. OIC, we were in the military. OIC said we couldn't leave until we got that shit up. We had never touched void.
Right.
We stayed up all night. Didn't get nothing for it other than to go home. But we got that knowledge. We knew what void was. We knew what not to do and how to get it going.
Hey man,
And
sometimes the best way to learn how to swim is to throw you in the deep end of the pool.
And they used to do that, right? And
Yeah, they
the
used
concern, I should have asked you this up front instead of bringing it in like this, like what your concerns are with tech. I know you did allude to some of those concerns, but one of my chief concerns nowadays is probably more with the way we operate as a people, maybe a American thing, but this immediate gratification thing may be a problem. I feel there's no real delayed gratification. Yeah. People don't want to sit and trust the process and follow the process, because you had a whole profession and was asking for 120. That's understandable because you have a position already, right? But you have like a lot of people that coming in haven't had a career, right? They've had jobs, they haven't had a career, and they're expecting to go from 0 to 6 figures in 12 months.
Yeah, but they're told that though. That's the marketing. Yeah. That's marketing, right? I have a boot camp. The new boot camps of today are selling you dreams. They're giving you information because of YouTube University. Oh man, that's the best thing that ever happened. YouTube University, where all the information is free. So it doesn't matter if Harvard teaches you or Reginald teaches you in his living room. It's still the same information.
The same information.
Right? Yep. The information gatekeepers are gone. So now these boot camps are I'm a professor. I teach at universities that are trying to push these boot camps. Some of them tell you to go to YouTube. Oh, part of the curriculum is Professor Messer's videos. I'm like, are you serious?
Yep.
So these boot camps are to justify the cost of $20,000, $15,000. Just Google these boot camps. You'd be amazed at the price. They have to tell you, hey, you're going to make 6 figures. How are we going to justify you paying $20,000 for 3 months? or 6 months, like you said, of training, right?
I think it's, and I'm not gonna lie, I feel like it's justified because, like, Professor, so you've been doing cybersecurity for a while. If you were to take a young whippersnapper, bright-eyed, want to go into cyber under your wings, you could pretty much chart his path to tell him what to go, what to do, what to learn, what to pay attention to, as opposed to him going out to the wide open YouTube and just looking around aimlessly. Like, there's a lot of bullshit out there too.
Right.
So
that's a different. Go ahead, bro. You got something?
Oh no, I just said clickbait. That's all YouTube is.
Yeah. So that's a different though. That's a difference though. I think what Professor talking about, and at least what I'm talking about, is foundational knowledge. They're hitting people across the head before, right? I actually looked into a university, just to see, because somebody had told me about it. They're charging $20,000, and you leave that thing with Security Plus. That is not a great ROI.
No, that's not
a great ROI. Not for six months of training and a Security Plus certificate. You can't. You're not going to be able to speak to that in a way that will get you make you competitive for a role.
Yeah, and they still don't guarantee you a job. Oh, there's no guarantee. Let me tell you something, Rico. You give me 20,000, I'm driving you to work.
Right. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Not
I
only
had
have
a
I got you a job, but I'm driving you to work every day for the first year. Shoot, give me 20,000.
yeah.
You know?
I had a bad argument. I was arguing for coaching as opposed to training. The training, yeah,
Oh yeah,
it's not worth it. You're better off
Yeah.
getting coaching or mentorship as opposed to that
yes.
training because you're gonna get
Yeah,
that
there was
knowledge
a
anyway.
No, no,
there was a question that I answered today in a post, and he asked like mentorship, certs, networking, or boot camps. Which ones you need? Or they had me like I gave them the answer. Which ones? I checked. It was a poll, and then they pushed it first and said, okay, well, how would you order them in order in levels of importance? Like which one's the highest rated to the lowest rated, right? As far as utility, usefulness. And I said this, and you can give your own, how you would rank it. But from my subjective opinion, I feel like mentorship, certifications with experience, networking, boot camp that dead last. I say your mentor will take your current position, your goal, and it will fill in a path to get you to fill in the gap between those
yes.
2 points. It will create a path for you based on what
Mhm.
you're asking for, what you're looking for. And then you need your certifications and your experience. You need that before you talk and go network. You don't necessarily need it. But if anybody networking with me, the first thing I'm gonna ask is like, okay, what have you done so far? Before you come to me, what have you done so far? Because I need to know that you're serious. I need to know that you're vested. Even if you've been running around in circles, okay, you running. At least you're running. I can tell you which way to run now. So before you go really go on hard network and do some work, that way you can say, hey, I've done this and this and this. And they can always say, okay, well, you've been going the wrong direction, but you've been working hard. Go this direction if you want to do that. Right. So that's your networking. And in the boot camp, if you were to leverage boot camps, I personally wouldn't leverage them unless the organization was fronting that fee for it. I wouldn't pay out of pocket for them. But what you would hope for out of a boot camp is just to smooth out the rough edges that you may have, any gaps you may have in your knowledge. That a person, hopefully, it's a person that's been in the field and has experience with it, not just somebody that's reading through a book. Um, and they can kind of tell you like what to look for and any kind of like roadblocks, things you're not cognizant of because of your ignorance. And I'm not saying ignorance in a bad sense. Ignorance as in you don't know what you don't know. But what do you guys feel about that?
Well, no, I was just gonna say I agree with Rico because that actually is the step I took. I found my mentor. He helped me. He said,
Right.
"What do you do?" So, nah, I agree with you, Rico.
Yeah, no, I agree with the mentor. I didn't have one. I wasted a lot of time. I wish I could get those years back. And I felt frustrated. When CISSP came out in 2006, right? I went for my CISSP. And I thought that the world was going to open and angels were going to fall from the sky and they're going to just follow me through and because that's what was happening to my counterparts. They getting CISSPs and they getting hired and they becoming CISOs and like what? Okay, I'm going to get mine. And they're like, you know, in please. Go back to your desk, man. Stop playing around. Just, you know, and I
Congratulations,
got
motherfucker.
real discouraged, right? So today, though, you guys got a mentor, you got communities, you got organizations, you got people that you could go to for help. Man, I think that's the first thing to get is a mentor, to join a community, you know, there's actually organizations now that are here to help, and they're just not a name, right? They're actually helping you. They're actually giving you resources, you know, to help you on your journey, right? Get with that, so that way you don't make mistakes and you don't go down roads that, or you don't follow a vice that doesn't fit your reality, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing I think is networking is very important. For the last 10 years, my jobs have been through networking, through LinkedIn, right? I haven't even looked at Indeed. I haven't got a job from Indeed, from, just straight job boarding, apply. No, it's been through networking, right? It's been through recruiters coming after me, or me networking at conferences and meeting hiring managers and stuff. It's that way. So networking is important in our field because we're community based. The IT and the tech field, we're gamers at heart. So gamers are community based, right? You don't game by yourself. That's dumb, right? You game within a community. You in a gaming community. If you know a way to beat the boss, you'll tell me, right? We all help out each other, right, to get to level 10 or whatever, right? So
still stuck on
that
level 10,
spills
man?
over in our communities, So that's community is number one thing, right?
Yeah,
and then
definitely.
for us, certs are, there's a big debate about certs. Let me tell you a reality. We represent 8% of the total workforce in IT, period. In IT, period, right? 8%.
You talking about like the people in this chat right now, or like who is the 8%?
Us as Black people.
Okay.
We represent 8% of the total workforce.
Say what?
Right? And I'm just talking about in America. I'm not even going to go international, just in America.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a tough stat, man.
So Silicon Valley is not hiring us. I mean, we have constant debates with Microsoft now on how to increase that. Right? Now it's a thing. Diversity, inclusion, right? It's a thing now. Right? Why it's a thing? Because they're losing lots of money. Microsoft lost a $10 billion contract with the Pentagon, right? Because they didn't have diversity. They didn't have their diversity numbers up. Maxine Waters, I know you heard of her, right? She's a congresswoman that runs that diversity thing for the government, and they couldn't hit those numbers.
That was why that happened.
So now diversity is a thing. Companies are looking at that. But still, at looking at that, Microsoft only went up 1%. They went up from 4 point something to 5 point something. Right?
That was after they hired you?
Huh?
That was after they hired you?
Yep. 0.00001%.
He moved the needle.
Yes, exactly. But the government is hiring us 30%. Right? The government requires Security Plus, or not just Security Plus, but they require certifications to get certain positions. They require that. That's mandate, right?
Yeah.
You won't even get past the interview if you don't have it. It's mandatory,
through,
right? It's a DOD
8570.
directive. 8570 or
8570.
8570, I think it's 8140 now.
They got another one coming out. It ain't came all the way out. They're talking about it's going to be slightly different, but
okay.
Yeah, it's going to be slight, but still, it's mandatory, right?
Yeah.
Over college degrees. So that's another debate: is a college degree or certification, which one holds more? A certification is just for the job. It's a requirement for the job. That should be your number one reason why you're getting a cert. The second one could be for bragging or whatever, but the first priority is get this cert to get a job or to get a higher position, right? So the government is hiring us 30%. They require Security Plus. I tell all of us Make sure you get your certs, because you don't want to close that door, because Silicon Valley is not hiring us like that. Right? So you don't want to close the door to government. Right? We want to make sure all the opportunities are open to us. Right? That's our certification debate. Do you need a cert to get a job? No. But if you don't have that cert, do you close yourself to opportunities? Do you close the door to opportunities? Yes.
How so?
Right? And we don't have that luxury. Right?
How would you close yourself from an opportunity? Can you go into that a little bit?
Say that one more time.
How would you close yourself off from an opportunity?
If I don't have a security plus,
Mm-hmm.
I can't get a government job.
Okay. Well,
And-
so for
Not only I
non,
can't get a job
for
with
non-DoD
the
role,
government directly, but I can't get a job with a contract. Us at Microsoft, I was working for the Navy, right, as a contractor. They when that DoD came out in, I think it was 2018 or 17, when it came out, we had 6 months to get it, or we would have lost that contract. I would have lost my job. See, so it's not only government, it's government contractors,
Right.
supporting government.
right? That's thousands, hundreds of thousands of jobs that are closed to you because you didn't get the security plus.
And the other thing is, even outside of like government and contractors supporting government, is this. If you're sitting there as a hiring manager and you got 50 resumes on your desk,
Yeah.
or on your computer, you need to start filtering, cutting that number down, because you ain't got time to go through all of them. So there's filterization that happens. That's where your certifications and your degrees come in.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, who doesn't have a degree? Gone. All right, dropped it down to 25 resumes. Okay, well, who doesn't have security plus? Gone.
Right.
So that's another thing that you want to be wary of. You may be positioning yourself to where a very competitive resume with the skills isn't even looked at, because they needed to cut the numbers down.
I'm gonna have to push back on you on that one, Rico.
Well, you ain't got to push back. I'm speaking subjectively. When I was hiring for a role, that's what I did, and people, it was a role that didn't require more than 5 years of experience. If your resume was more than 3 pages, gone.
Yeah, I'm still gonna have to push back. It's filtration, not filterization. Filtration.
Filterization.
That's not a real word.
You can't filterize something. Let me get a T-shirt made. That say filterize.
You do some more syllables on it to make it sound important.
I think the train is officially fell off the track.
I'm gonna name this episode. Filterization.
Filterization.
With Professor
Process
Roger.
of filterization with Professor Roger.
Exactly.
Y'all remember that dude on Living Color back in the day? You must personifies.
Oh yes,
remember that?
David Allegretti.
That was Damon Wayans. That was Damon Wayans. The dude in prison. You must personify.
Oh yeah.
The crux.
But they making fun of the 1%ers.
No, the dude was in prison talking about, and it said like, basically, a mind is a terrible thing to waste, because he was just making up words.
Yo, I gotta stop saying big words because I'm using them wrong now. So it kind of hurts.
You don't want to filterize anybody.
You know what?
You better start using ChatGPT to make your speeches.
Yeah, that's what he's using. ChatGPT.
Sound like John Morant.
I ain't never have you back on the show, Professor. Blacklisted. Black man.
No, man, this was a great podcast. Thank you for inviting me. Right. And I hope we could do this again. You know, it's good to be around the brothers, you know, and be able to talk geek, you know, talk nerd. I like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. This is my thing. I was talking to a lady, not a black lady, a white lady, but she was like, man, she was super smart though. But we were talking about, just tech, and I was like, yeah, I love talking tech, and
Me too.
I talk about it all the time. I go drinking, me and Marco, we go drinking, Reggie, and these guys come out sometimes. Their wives don't let them come out sometimes, though, but when they do come out, though, we all
I mean,
talk
we don't
tech.
know when y'all be going out.
Yeah, let's go with that one.
I'm
Yeah.
going
Wow.
with it.
But anyways, what I'm saying, is we all enjoy talking about tech, right? And I feel like that's another part of it. We got to make it a regular conversation, but we just talk about this, and it ain't talking about something that almost sounds like a foreign language. So hey, let's change the subject to sports or something else that is
Right.
more easy for the common person to understand. I want that for us. But yeah, definitely connect. Get your questions asked or get your questions answered. I mean, he's pretty much an open book. He's down to help anybody that's willing to put in the work. It does require work. We don't have any secret sauce that's going to allow you to absorb this information, but we can put you on the right path so you don't spin your wheels running in circles.
Yes, and waste a lot of money too.
And
Time and money.
Exactly. I think we've all, gone that route. I mean, it was hard to get information when I was coming up in this thing.
Yeah.
Now y'all you can find anything on YouTube. The problem now is evolved to having direction. What information is relevant to what I'm trying to do. So tap in the Professor, link up with any of us, and get yourself straight, and so we can be working together at some point in the future. Without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and start this recording so we can close this thing down.